Hello everyone, Andy Schwab here from the Northern Ag Network with today's Northern Ag TV. Well, the House Ag Committee held a special hearing this week for the purpose of receiving testimony from Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins. When U.S. Representative Dusty Johnson of South Dakota questioned her on the trade policy, Secretary Rollins acknowledged the difficulties that foreign markets have created on producers, but reassured the committee that the trade talks will pay off in the near future.
First few international trips has been remarkable, in fact, stunning. I think that the world is ready to recalibrate. I think that the president has been such an effective leader on this. I know the uncertain times our producers are feeling. There's no one who's operating more on the margins than our farmers and ranchers understand this. The president certainly understands it. But I do believe with every fiber of my being that this era of unlimited or unprecedented prosperity for our ag community is just around the corner because of these trade renegotiations. I'm just really sure of that.
Now, senior U.S. and Chinese negotiators did announce a framework for getting their trade negotiations back on track this week. However, it's not clear if they made any significant progress on the more fundamental differences over China's sizable trade surplus with the U.S. And Wyoming ag groups are looking for participants in the August event. It's the Women in Ranching and Education Development Training in Laramie on August 14th, which is hosted by the American National Cattle Women, Wyoming Cattle Women, and the University of Wyoming. The full day of hands-on training will go through several topics, including fencing strategies, incorporating sheep into the management practices, guardian animals, and several other topics. A light breakfast, lunch, and dinner is provided with that registration, just $75 per person. Details for the August 14th event can be found online at ancw.org/wired. And the Livestock Marketing Association posted their official press release this week from last weekend's World Livestock Auctioneer Championship. As you may have heard, the Canadian Dean Edge from Rimbey, Alberta won the coveted title in a very tough competition. As a reigning WLAC champion, Edge will spend the next year driving the custom-wrapped World Livestock Auctioneer Championship pickup all over the country to showcase his talents and promote the livestock industry. Also looking ahead, next year's competition will be held at St. Onge Livestock, and LMA's conference will be in Deadwood. Well, when you take a break, we're going to come back and talk about some of your cattle markets and your grain markets.
From the beginning, we've worked closely with farmers. BNSF's ties to the agricultural community go back 175 years. Together, we've innovated to make the U.S. agriculture supply chain one of the most efficient and productive in the world. Our strong relationship powers BNSF still today and helps us move the nation like no one else can. At BNSF, we move the nation for you.
Talking with someone that you know is stressed out, those are difficult things to approach, but if you're good friends with those people, reach out and say, I'm here to talk to you. We can find somewhere to get some assistance. It's hard to get involved, but at the same time, you want to just say, hey, there is help available.
For more tips in dealing with stress in agriculture or for free counseling for egg producers, visit beyondtheweather.com.
Cattle futures remained on pause yesterday as traders were hoping to see a solid answer in the morning bids of the negotiated cash cattle markets. Unfortunately, they did not surface in the time as it marked a second day of losses for some of the futures. This comes as a positive World Ag Supply and Demand Estimates report did not carry a big enough hammer to ring the bell of record high prices, even though that hammer pushed the quarterly steer prices projections higher by $9 to $10 in the third and fourth quarter of this year, with beef production also likely to see a 65 million pound decrease this year. Speaking at our local auctions, Pay's Livestock on Wednesday had a good test of the cull cows as a large buyer pool was noticed again this week for the feeding cows, and a portion of the cow offering was purchased to put away for the 4th of July holiday. Pay's also saw a potload of 550-pound heifers dropping the gavel at $374 a hundredweight. For the sheep auctions, a good test of slaughter and finished lambs in Sioux Falls Livestock this week, with their lambs between 70 and 100 pounds. They only varied by 2 pennies on the averages, while a full semi-load of 144-pound lambs held steady in that $2.15 money. And lots to talk about in the grain sector as the latest WSDA report showed the wheat forecast call for very strong winter wheat production in the U.S. and the world, while the row crops came in mostly as expected on Thursday, with a few overall changes to the corn and soybean balance sheets, both in the U.S. and the global sectors. In the outside of markets for Thursday, equity markets were cautiously higher amid the week's positive trade news regarding China, but perhaps a little anxious regarding the upcoming July 8th deadline for that 90-day tariff pause, with many deals still on the table, according to the White House. Well, that's going to do it for our Ag TV here on the Northern Ag TV. I'm Andy Schwab. Have a great rest of your day.